We beat the hell out of that thing.
I keep forgetting that, like, the one thing this game does not do well, and actually a lot of movies and games don't do super well, this is not a NieR-specific problem, is selling the player on how hard of a task is.
I'm on it.
Because we get down here, and NieR goes, God damn it! And I go, what? It's doing the same shit it's already been doing, and I don't realize it's because, in the main character's opinion, it should be dead by now, even though we can see the health bar. Same thing goes for the monster that we locked in the basement. It's like, in Act 2, you know, it's implied that we've gotten more powerful between Act 1 and Act 2, but we get to Act 2 and we fight it again, and it's a little easier, but also it's like, we probably could have taken it the first time. We probably didn't need to petrify Kaine for that. God, third time watching this, and every time I keep forgetting a specific detail, which is that Emil does not go supernova to kill the boss, right? It's dead. We got it. The implication is it's done. We completed the task. It's the threat is over, and then Emil loses it, which is way worse. It's so much worse than if it was just Emil has to go all out just this once, and it just so happens that it's too much, and in the process of killing the boss, he also kills a bunch of innocent people. It's the idea of Emil was protecting us so that we could get the finishing blow. We get the finishing blow, job complete, and then Emil can't rein it in, and then kills a ton of people. It's that makes it so much worse.
But you saved our lives. Didn't you? If it wasn't for you, we'd all be dead. We owe you. It's all right. Don't look back.
Yeah. Let's go check our mail. I think it's not until we get out of the northern plain, onto the northern plains, which is a very smart decision. It would be really fucked up to, like, right here be like, alright, what next? Hey, I got great news. We're definitely finishing this game today, because we're less than, actually more than 90 minutes in, but barely more than 90 minutes in to recording. Some of that was farming time, so even less than that. And we're 4/5 of the way to getting into the last dungeon. Hey, Kaine. Fuck, marry, kill, simple machines. What do you got? I hate to say this, it might have seemed like I was allowing that cutscene to be poignant and nice, and I was doing that. That was part of the thought. The other thing was, I've already brainstormed my answers. I've got them at the ready. So, won't surprise you. Very, very... Actually, I'll admit, there's a little bit of thought that goes into this. Because you have to gauge what's going to be best, what's going to be worse. Because the thing is, like, here's the thing. I am more likely to fuck Wedge than I am to fuck Inclined Plane, right? I'm probably actually more... no, I'd still marry Inclined Plane over Wedge. But, like, Inclined Plane I'm not going to do anything with. If I've got 6 options and Inclined Plane is one of them, I'm not going to fuck, marry, or kill Inclined Plane. I'm just going to leave it where it is. So, like, the Wedge is not the least fuckable. It is probably the least marryable. Regardless, it won't come as much surprise that we're killing the Wedge. Obviously gotta kill the Wedge. Then it gets really interesting. Because I imagine everyone's first thought is like, well, you gotta fuck Screw, right? Because the word Screw is like, yeah, but you're not, you gotta put thought into this, guys. You can't just, it can't be that simple. We gotta talk physicality. If you're gonna fuck a simple machine, Screw is like one of the least appealing options. There is nothing about a Screw where I look at it and go, I could work with that. You know? It makes me uncomfortable to think about, honestly. So we're not fucking Screw, even though it would be the funny... That's the equivalent of being like, pick a number between 1 and 169. It's like, no. Take this seriously, please. This is a serious discussion. Let's talk to Popola, I guess.
Okay.
Talk to me. Nope, nothing useful, but there's something in your fucking mailbox, so go look. Wait, does she not tell us to go check our mailbox? I thought she did. Oh, it's not until we hit the door, I guess. Sometimes it's just walking away, she says that. And then other times, I guess we have to click on the door before she does. Weird. So, yeah, and we're definitely not marrying Screw. You can't marry Screw. So that's in the middle. And you notice our choices are either declining. Fucking Wheel, I think, would be... That'd be more trouble than it was worth. Lever, I think... I mean, Lever's obviously a switch. So, like, that spices things up, right? So, Lever's up there for fuckability. And obviously, like, it's no secret Lever's my favorite. So, you'd think I'm inclined... I'm thinking about that. But again, in terms of physicality, in terms of thinking about what can we actually do about this... Guys, the pulley. You can work with a pulley. There's stuff you can do with the pulley. I think I gotta fuck the pulley. So, yeah, we're fucking the pulley. And then the really interesting thing is, I'm tempted to not marry Lever either, because Lever can flip on you real quick. And I don't know if I can trust like that. But my other option is Wheel, and... I don't want to marry a Wheel and Axle. It's too complicated. Like, no judgment if you're poly, but Wheel and Axle, for me personally, I just think that's... I don't think... the way I operate and what I give in relationships and get out of relationships, I just don't think polycules are for me. And so, Wheel and Axle... They've already got each other. I feel like I'd just be getting in the way of that, you know? It's just I don't think that's my scene specifically. So yeah, I don't think I can like that's actually a point in Wheel and Axle's fuckability though, because if there's no baggage attached, getting to fuck Wheel and Axle like both at the same time, like shit, that's spicy, that's fun, but I don't think it outweighs pulley. So. You know, technically speaking, the definition of a pulley is most definitions of a pulley are Wheel and Axle plus rope, which, like, holy shit, that's getting real spicy. So yeah, definitely fucking the pulley, no questions there. Marrying Inclined Plane would be like, that's a calm life but a dull life. Not Screw, not Wedge because we killed Wedge.
Whatever, Gramps.
What was that hussy?
And then, I think that's all of our options, right? Kill Wedge, fuck pulley, not Inclined Plane, not Wheel and Axle, not Screw. Yeah, I think I'm still marrying Lever. There's a risk in that, but you know, you want to have a little bit of excitement in your life. Yeah, I'll marry Lever. I can get on board with that. A little risky, but you gotta be a little risky sometimes. Alright, that conversation lasted us just long enough to get to Facade, which is great, because now we can actually focus on the story again. Although now I have to get all the way to the other side of town. Now it's dead air. But that gives you guys plenty of time to think about your options, because I'm sure your mind was blown by how well thought out that was. And I don't know how you could possibly disagree with me, but I'm curious if you do. Let me know. Yeah, you're not going to be jealous of her in 10 minutes. Shit, that was needlessly heartless, given what's about to happen. Man, I'm in the middle of uploading Act 1, and Fyra's so great. She's such a good character. It sucks. I hate that she dies. It sucks.
You have grown into a finer kind of...
And spoiler alert, unless I'm really forgetting something else, ending C and D are not going to secretly reveal that she survived.
How can...
Alright, we gotta watch some canines die, just to make everything more fun. You want to call them dogs, and it's like, no, they're not technically dogs. Wolves are a separate thing. But canines feels weirdly clinical. What the fuck was that? Sorry, something in my apartment just moved. Which sounds terrifying. I'm almost positive it was just, you know, I wash my dishes and I put them on the drying table, and sometimes they settle. I'm almost positive it was just that, but freaked me out for a hot sec. A nice distraction from the fact that there's a bunch of dead wolves on screen. But not anymore. I don't think I'm ever going to... I mean, I don't want to jinx it. Never going to be gotten as bad as getting to one of the scariest parts of Signalis, and it's super late at night, and my neighbor got home way later than she usually does, and so I just hear rustling coming from outside the front door of my apartment, being like, what the fuck is that? I got past that, and so hearing my dishes settle, and it's not even very late at night right now, I can handle that. I'm a brave boy. I will. Maybe people thought it was cringe, but you know, if you got this far in the playthrough, you didn't think it was that cringe. I really enjoyed doing the voice acting for the non-voice lines in this game. That's kind of one of the only bummers of these additional playthroughs is I don't get to do it anymore, because any additional content is almost assuredly going to be voiced. Yeah, my job is done there. And yeah. That was fun. I like doing that. I think it's an important question. I'll throw a couple in there. The lines I really like, I'll throw in.
Finding light in the bad times.
I couldn't have spoken better myself.
And a man works better, trust me.
This music is actually really... I hadn't, thought about it, how good this music is for feeling like... serving the dual purpose of... regal, hopeful thing happening, / sad, depressing, tragic thing happening. I think it has the same chord progression as the kind of morning song that plays whenever something super sad happens, but it's not the same song. So I assume that plays when you have your conversation with the king in Route 1 when you're not seeing this scene. But it really works to transition from that scene to this one. It's really good. Because I think it's just string section for this song, right? That's all I can hear. And that is a very good way to just have a lot of different accomplish a bunch of different emotions at once, I feel like. Just because it's string section is such a versatile set of instruments. Whereas, like, if you bring in brass, there are only so many emotions you can communicate with the brass section, I feel like. With solos, you can actually, there's a lot more versatility. But if you use an entire section of the orchestra,
How nice!
I think the string section is the most versatile. Whereas if you're going to bring in multiple trombones, multiple trumpets, multiple French horns, tubas, euphoniums, etc., there are only so many vibes you can accomplish with that. If you're going to use that whole tool set, there are only so many feelings you can accomplish with that tool set. String sections on their own with nothing else, but with a bunch of strings, can be triumphant, can be poignant, can be sweet, can be sad, can be intense. That can accomplish a lot. String sections are rad. But also, you know, I'm a trombone boy. I'm a piano guy. I love all sorts of instruments. That is no slight on any other section of the orchestra. I think the choice of having a strings-only song for the transition from those two scenes was a very smart musical choice. That's all I'm trying to say. As per usual, it is useful for me to hyperfixate on a technical aspect of a scene in order for me not to feel overcome with the emotion of the scene that is... Like, Facade it didn't need to be how welcoming all of these people are and how loving these people are to a mute figure. Because I think you kind of forget that a little bit since so many of the lines are not voiced in the first place. You kind of forget Fyra is fully mute. She only does sign language, and you don't really get reminded of that until this cutscene when you have a bunch of characters talking, including other people from Facade, and she is still using sign language. And the idea of, like, yeah, from everything we see, the village just loves and accepts her as she is already. There's no feeling of she's an outsider. There's no aspect of, well, we treat her a little bit differently because she's not the same as us. Facade is just such a wonderful community. Aside from the fact that they kill a bunch of wolves, but even then, like, this is a world where communication, particularly for like a wolf shade, communication is borderline impossible, and wolves, wild wolves, are dangerous. But if you go into the wolves' den and kill a bunch of them unprompted, that's a little bit fucked up, especially if it's not even for, like, you know, keeping balance in the ecosystem or getting resources out of it. No, that just happened because the guards wanted to be like, oh, we don't want any trouble on wedding day. And in fact, they invited a lot of trouble because cycles of violence, people not being able to communicate and just resorting to violence in order to solve their problems. We're back to it. Wait, I need more simple machine discourse before I dive all the way back in. I got in too deep last time. Maybe not too deep, but I got in deep enough that I don't really want to do it again. Not so soon. And again, I've said it before, just like, of all the people to kill, the wolf couldn't have known this, but Fyra's like the worst person you could have killed because she's the only character that has just been a shining ray of sunlight the entire game, and has helped bring people together and bridge gaps and overcome differences and work against cycles of violence. And again, just due to like lack of communication and a desire to get some form of vengeance, she gets caught in the crossfire. It's a set of dominoes that falls down in the most tragic way possible. It sucks. It's really well written. It's really good. This game is good. And now that I don't have to fucking fish anymore, I can enjoy the game without the game getting in the way of my enjoyment of the game. God, I have to fish again in my life. Until Automata. God damn it. I'll never forget. I'm preparing myself.
This course of action, King. Ahead lies a battle you cannot win.
Sucks. Well, at least this time I don't have the awkward chance of, well, King's gonna go to war with the wolves sometime soon. Maybe we should go check our mail.
Madness.
Alright, count us in.
We're not doing it for you, dumbass. It's for Fyra.
Kaine, you can't speak to a king like...
If this is indeed
I guess that line from Kaine is a little bit speaking to their prior relationship, but I still wish we got a little bit more. I still think it's weird. It reminds me very much of the specific moment I'm talking about is when the king is going, we go to war, you see Emil kneeling over Fyra's body, and Kaine is still just kind of standing there. Reminds me very much of in Mass Effect 3 at the end of Thessia, when Kaine comes in, fucks you over, runs away, and then you lose you basically lose everything on Thessia. It's just a complete L for Shepard. And I believe Liara is required for that mission, which would make sense because it's her home planet. And at the end of that mission, when Shepard realizes what an L they've taken, they fall to their knees as they watch like the skyline of Thessia crumbling to the Reapers. And Liara comes over and like pats him on the shoulder or some shit, and it's like, I really feel like Liara should probably be the one that is more emotionally distraught by how badly this went. And it feels weird to have her be the support of that scene while Shepard gets to feel all the emotions. That moment always felt really weird to me. Not that Shepard can't also feel terrible for what's happened, but if you're going to have a scene of one character falls on their knees in despair and the other one can't really do much but tries to offer what comfort they can, I really think it should be flipped and have Liara be the one on the floor and Shepard being the one to provide comfort. It felt really weird to have Shepard be the main character of that specific scene of, wow, we just lost Thessia and it was all for nothing. We're just normal wolves. Been thinking a good amount about Mass Effect recently and how, like, I made a very hard commitment to whatever happens in that playthrough, and so, you know, I had a playthrough where Rex died and Tali died, and that changes the game quite a bit, and I've seen, you know, other things that happen of when other characters die, and I am mostly happy with my decision to follow through with it instead of, like, you know, I've seen other streamers, you know, try to go in cold, but then the suicide mission goes poorly, and so they redo that. It's like, that's not really, you know, in the spirit of the suicide mission itself, right? And I will admit, Tali dying, smarts. That, like, that branch of Mass Effect 3, the whole Gethporian storyline, is legitimately just worse when Tali is not there. Most of all because, hey, level 39. Most of all because you can't actually get a good ending out of it without Tali. No matter how much work you put in. As I learned and did not enjoy learning. And then I've seen what happens if Mordin is dead. Mordin dies in the suicide mission. There's some fun. The Mordin replacement is kind of a fun character that is a little bit interesting. It's not really worth losing Mordin for that. Mordin has enough really juicy, interesting stuff in Mass Effect 3 that it is a definitively better story if he survives. I will say, I don't know if it's a better story. I think it's a really interesting story if Rex is dead for Mass Effect 3. Because I've seen a lot of people say, you know, Rex being alive is the only reason I would save the Krogan, because if anyone else was in charge, they would be so militaristic and violent that it would not be worth bringing them back. And you know, they point, if Rex is dead, Reeve is kind of the main point person for the Krogan storyline. And people point to Reeve, and it's like, yeah, he's an asshole, and he's probably going to bring back a lot of terrible practices that the Krogan did, which is the reason that people wanted to suppress them in the first place. And, like, yeah, you could make that argument. That's perfectly fair if that is your argument. But you do have Eve, who is, if she survives, and she did survive in my playthrough, is a kind of balancing presence of responsibility and honor that I think is really interesting. And, oh, I thought that was the spear, but that was his mask. I was like, that doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the mask is entering into the wolf. But no, it's not meant to be like that. We're gonna get the fucking dog and master cutscene again, aren't we? Yep. Oh, it's way worse when you know what's coming. Oh no!
I have already lived for far too long. But you must endure. Go, live, and think now and again. Thank you for being my friend.
Oh, that one hits way worse when you know what's coming. Oh, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that one to hit harder the second time. Because the Khalil one, I was prepped for it. I was ready. I got a little bit teary-eyed at the mom leaving the room and Khalil crying out for her. But it didn't get me nearly as bad. I think that's still the worst I've ever broken on this channel in terms of a game getting me to cry. That one hit way harder the second time. because I knew what was coming, but I knew it was coming, but I had distracted myself up until just before it happened, so I didn't do the prep work I did for Khalil. So it's probably my own fault, but damn.
Of course, she was terribly proud of her king, and now you must do all that you can to honor her memory. Is that another infernal rule?
Now we can find the Shadowlord. And Yonah.
Hell yeah.
We certainly can.
We're almost there.
Is there a name for this thing? It's just the keys. Okay. Anyways, just going back to the Rex conversation, I think it is, you know, if having Rex there makes it an easy choice of like, yeah, we can trust Rex, he's great, he's noble, so then it's an obvious choice, we should do it. That's really cool. But the Genophage storyline is meant to be a moral question that you are meant to think about and wrestle with. It is way more interesting and way more on the line if you go, if I do this, the Krogan might end up being a problem again. They might not, because Eve is here and Eve might be able to keep Reeve in line. And in fact, I think that was a very big part of why I was willing to go through with it, is Eve could keep Reeve in line, and I trusted her to be able to do that.
I don't care if it's a trap. Yonah's waiting for me.
We're in the save menu. You're not allowed to talk.
I see.
Having Eve be a presence that keeps it up in the air as to whether or not the Krogan will return to being the threat to civilization that they used to be, or not. That question being up in the air, rather than definitively, no, they're going to be chill, they're going to be cool now with Rex, makes the question of, do you undo the Genophage, way more interesting, because it doesn't ask you, it makes you question, will this be good for the galaxy in the long term? The answer is, good chance no. This is a big gamble. And you have to ask yourself, okay, but again, it goes back to cycles of violence again, actually. It really comes through over and over. You have to ask yourself, okay, I might be taking a gamble here. Is it worth keeping the galaxy safe by compromising my morals? Or is the moral standpoint of the Genophage was a mistake and it was wrong, am I willing to compromise the potential safety of the galaxy to hold true to those morals? Because if there's no question about, yeah, the Krogan are going to be fine after we cure the Genophage and they're going to be normal and chill, it's not even a moral question at that point. It's like, obviously you should do that. It's a way more interesting moral question when Reeve is in charge. And so, even though it's still a really cool, interesting storyline when Rex is around, I'm actually, in the end, a little bit grateful because it led to an issue I had to wrestle around with more and think about more by saying, well, if Reeve's in charge, are you willing to risk it? I think that's a much more interesting question to ask. Even though you don't get as many buddy Shepherd Rex moments, which are wonderful and lovely and are worth it on their own, in their own playthrough. I think players should experience a Rexless playthrough once, because the Genophage question is way more complex and way more interesting if Reeve is in charge instead of Rex. Anyways, let's finish this fucking game, guys. I'm not even talking about the game that I'm playing, because I've talked too much about 9/11 this session, and I realized maybe I need to take a little step back. Again, directly relevant. Yoko Taro has directly said it was, but
Popola just loves to
again, I dove deep.
Anyway, you be careful.
I don't need to dive. I don't need to continue to dive deep. I need to catch my breath with Mass Effect discourse. Is that actually, that's a slightly interesting. Please be careful. Very professional. Be careful. A command from Devola. That's a fun little detail. I like how I was like, I need to catch my breath with Mass Effect discourse, and the discourse I chose was more genocide talk. Just really keeping with that today, aren't we? Head to Lost Shrine, and then I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm curious, I actually want to talk to at least a couple of villagers to see if any of them have different dialogue. No, it's the same. Because this dialogue, the incidental background dialogue,
Well, hello.
does change. Looks like most people, if you actually press B and try to do dialogue with them, just say the same shit. I would check in one last time with poor I was about to say poor girlfriend, and I was like, not anymore, and then I was like, poor newly single girl, and I was like, that feels both oh shit, glad I checked. That's gonna be way more interesting. I'll just finish my thought real quick. Both reductive, and almost seems like it's making fun of her that her beau is dead, but regardless, God, I forgot that's one of the few times where Weiss just says there's nothing to say to that. It's just tragic. That was really good. Glad I got reminded of that. This kid was not here before, but this is the kid who was playing with that little baby shade that we killed that one time. Didn't realize she came back up here to check. He's not here. I wonder where he went. Yep, glad I checked. Damn. One last stab in the heart from the village before we head out. But hey, that water wheel's working. You guys are welcome. Alright. Was that a new one? It didn't have too much information. It was her talking about her black scrawls. I think she mentioned, sometimes I worry about I'm going to turn into a goblin, but I don't think that's going to happen. Wild that we're still getting new ones. That might not have been a new one, but I didn't remember talking about a goblin. Are you ready?
Get back alive, okay?
Didn't realize these were voiced. I was going to do, again, for the important lines I was going to do it, but they're voiced apparently.
It's a plan.
I didn't hear Kaine's line. Alright. Let's jump into it. God, I was going to go to the bathroom during the loading screen, then I was like, one, bunch of shades pop up right away. Two, now that we're in the final stretch, there's a chance the third playthrough has some new content for us. It does. I don't really think it has any new content yet. But I'm on the lookout for it. I guess the tree riddles being different is technically new content. Alright. Once again, the name of the game is rescuing Yonah as soon as possible, not even necessarily killing many shades along the way. Kaine and Emil are gonna fuck shit up all day, though. Nothing I can do to stop them from that. Except forcing them to teleport closer to me, I guess. Did you notice how the sounds just went away immediately as soon as Kaine teleported up to me? Hopefully wizard. Ah, shit, Emil just obliterated that wizard. Hell yeah. I guess it's still up, but got all the armor off. That's fun. Excuse me. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Wizard's coming for me. Wizard's coming for me. But he's not fast enough. Oh, is there another one up there now? Is that the same one? I don't know. Might have been the same one. Yeah, its armor got knocked off. I guess the same one. I didn't realize it could elevate itself so quickly. I think that was the same one again that was just new. Again, anything I don't have the time to read out loud, I'll just put in the description so you guys don't have to worry about pausing it. But wild that I might still be getting new ones. This is also interesting. I think this is one of the only pieces of music in the game that is... I might be completely wrong about that, but it's the only one I can remember at the moment that is dynamic and adds a drum beat when I'm in combat and then takes that away when I'm not in combat. I don't remember if the other ones do it. Aerie might have also done that. I might be making that up. That might be a consistent thing. I think Robot Factor just has one track the whole time, though. I don't think that one changes. I don't know. I'll take a listen as I upload as well. Maybe when I upload this episode, I'll mention in the description how right or wrong I am. But this is one of the only times I can remember that happening. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting kind of jungle drum vibe. I think it's really interesting that so many instruments just have certain vibes. Like, the drums used here, jungle drums. I mean, right now it's mini-boss music, so you can't hear it, but when it is Lost Shrine music, but I'm in combat, they have jungle drums specifically. Obviously, some of them are very dependent on, like, well, did the instrument come from the region? Did it come from a certain region? Because if so, it's probably, when you hear the instrument, you are primed to think about that region. But I don't know, is that... I don't know. I don't know enough about the history of different instruments if the specific drums used here are specifically drums that originated from... I don't know. I would assume... If that is true, and that the drums I am hearing there that remind me of quote-unquote jungle music originate from a region, I would assume Africa. But perhaps that is presumptuous of me, because Africa is not the only continent that has jungles. It's one of two. No, there are Asian jungles, right? Southeast Asia has jungles. And then the Amazon is obviously a big one, so... Yeah, I guess about half of the continents have jungles. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's why I thought there was an army. It's the army the first time you go up to the Lost Shrine in Act 2, but not the second time. I remember at the ending of Route B, I was like, don't I have to fight a bunch of people at the last second here? No, that's only on your first run-up in Act 2. Alright, that was a little over 2 hours to get through, which is not terrible, considering, like, a lot of that was just cutscenes, honestly, especially the facade part. And we are good to head on in. Hang on, I do want to make extra sure, because I believe this is the save point I'll need to come back to. Lost Shrine Roof, File 3. Remember that. Don't pick the wrong one.